Okay, good evening, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Wednesday, the 26th day of January in the year 2022. This is a city council meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a 6 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 6:02 p.m. May we have a roll call for the commencement of this meeting? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Here.
Councilperson Bargiano.
Here.
Councilperson Saleh will be late. Councilperson Solomon.
Here.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Here.
Councilperson DeGise.
Here.
Councilperson Rivera.
Here.
And Council President Waterman.
Here.
We have 8 council members in attendance at 6:02 p.m. Can we kindly rise for a moment of silence, please?
Connie Casalog, longtime resident of downtown Jersey City, Laurel Court. Firefighters in Baltimore that lost their lives: Lieutenant Paul Bertram, firefighter Kenny Lacayo, firefighter Kelsey Sadler, and two NYPD officers who were killed: Jason Rivera and Wilbert Mora.
Jack Keeley, a former Jersey City police officer, was also at Iwo Jima at the flag raising, and a member of the Jersey City Federal Credit Union. Jack was a great guy and a great hero of the Second World War, and one of the last survivors of Iwo Jima.
Thank you very much. Kindly remain standing as we salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. On behalf of Municipal Council President Joyce E. Waterman, in accordance with the New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2022, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Thursday, October 28, 2021. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Thursday, January 20th, 2022 at 3 p.m. to the Municipal Council, Mayor, Business Administrator, Corporation Council, and the local newspapers, and posted on the city's website so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. And I will mark Councilperson Saleh present at, 6:05 p.m. So we now have all 9 council members present at 6:05. And I'm going to take it right from the top. On to our first reading ordinances. Item 3.1, City Ordinance 22-004 is a vacation ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City to vacate a portion of 13th Street between Provost Street and Barham Street in the City of Jersey City in the County of Hudson in the State of New Jersey. Item 3.2, City Ordinance 22-005 is an ordinance authorizing the execution of a deed easement with 14th Florence Street Corporation, permitting the developer to make improvements on a portion of 12th Street, public right-of-way in the area of east of Provost Street, and continuing into an area adjacent to the north side of Newport Parkway in connection with the construction of the new public pedestrian walkway. Item 3.3, City Ordinance 22-006, is a vacation ordinance by the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City vacating a portion of Bleecker Street, Jersey City, New Jersey. Item 3.4, City Ordinance 22-007, is an ordinance amending Chapter 53, Personnel, Article 7, Workplace Regulations, Section C, Compensation, and Article 11, Fixed Salaries, to modify the salary and employment benefits for full-time and part-time aides to council persons of the City of Jersey City pursuant to state law. Item 3.5, City Ordinance 22-008, is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 8, Permit Parking, amending Section 332-66, On-Street Parking, resident-only parking permit zones to extend Zone 11 on various streets. Item 3.6, City Ordinance 22-009, is an ordinance amending Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9, Parking for the Disabled of the Jersey City Code, designating reserved parking spaces at various locations throughout the city. Item 3.7, City Ordinance 22-010, is an ordinance adopting amendments to the Morris Canal redevelopment plan regarding the creation of the Berry Lane Park North Zone at 417 Communipore Avenue, Block 18901, lots 23 and 29, and remand per September 23rd, 2021 by court order. Item 3.8, City Ordinance 22-011, is an ordinance amending Chapter 304, Article 9, Section 42, to reflect that the Arts and Cultural Trust Fund annual levy shall not exceed 2 cents per $100 of total municipal assessed real property. Council members, I'm going to be taking a vote on items 3.1 through 3.8. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye for.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Solomon.
I'll vote no on 3.7 and aye on all the rest. And then just for the colleagues, we got a lot of feedback from all of you on 3.4, the council aides, and we're going to try to process all of that. Corporation Council sent us some information. And if we have any amendments, we'll try to send them to you next week so we have time to consider before the second reading. Thank you.
Okay. Councilperson Gilmore.
I'm going to vote aye on all except for 3.7. I really want to reach back out with the developer and have further discussion so we can have more clarity on exactly what's slated to take place. Also on 3.4, I'm going to vote aye too, but just so the record reflect, I think we have to do a better job with staffing the whole city as a whole. We've been meeting with several directors. There's a lot of vacancies within the city and within certain departments, and also a lot of long-term residents who have been working for the city upwards of 20 years, really not being paid fair wages, just so the record reflects that. So I'll vote aye on all of those except for 3.7.
And your vote on 3.7 is?
No.
Thank you. Councilperson DeGise?
Aye on all.
Councilperson Rivera?
Aye for introduction.
And Council President Waterman?
Aye for introduction.
If I can just recap, items 3.1 through 3.6 are introduced unanimously 9-0. Item 3.7 is introduced 7-2, with council members Solomon and Gilmore voting no, and item 3.8 is introduced unanimously 9-0. Okay, on to our second reading ordinances. First ordinance is item 4.1, City Ordinance 22-002, is an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City establishing Chapter 73A, Women's Advisory Board of the City of Jersey City. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard. If council members, if no speakers do come up, I have 3 statements to read into the record. Okay, can I have your name, please?
Barcia.
Can you spell that for me, please?
First name E-I-K-O, separate L-A, separate capital B-O-R-I-A.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Council. I'd like to first begin by thanking you all for your support of the Flow Initiative and all the great support that I've received from this council. And it's beforehand, but to Councilwoman Amy DeGise for her work in supporting that, and Councilman Gilmore, who may not have supported it, but has been very supportive of women in his community. On behalf of the organization Jersey City Women, we would like to congratulate this council for taking a step toward achieving greater gender equality in Jersey City. We are especially happy of the fact that during the Jersey City Women Town Hall in October 2021, over 150 women came out to hear our collective conversation on what it takes to be a woman in elected office and how said women would answer the needs of women. During this meeting, we called for the creation of a commission on the status of women and girls that would assert the rights of women and girls as human rights, that women are underrepresented in elected office throughout New Jersey, and that there are a myriad of issues that must be addressed in Jersey City before true gender equality is achieved. Jersey City Women has been researching and engaging women in Jersey City for the past year and a half through listening sessions, surveys, and on-the-ground engagements at food bank, community centers, domestic abuse homes, homeless shelters, networking events, and so on. It was through the work of the Flow Initiative that I first heard of so many issues that affect women. And recognizing that giving out period product was just a small answer to a great big problem. Women have been the most affected group by the pandemic, suffering the greatest losses. Yet it has been women that have been on the front lines and have kept Jersey City going during these unprecedented times. Approximately 70% of frontline workers are women. Women have earned the right to have an advisory board, and we are very happy about that, but one that holds power and is well-funded and prepared to invest in the futures. So although this is a groundbreaking to have this be the first women advisory board in Jersey City, it must be noted that any board or body that has no funding behind it and no power to push forward change cannot be expected to perform at the highest levels. And it is our hope that there will be, although this is a great step, it is the first step that must move forward the great agenda that is Jersey City Women. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is still a public hearing. And your name, please, for the record?
Monica Miterman Rodriguez. I can spell that for you.
It's Monica
Miterman, M-E-I-T-E-R-M-A-N hyphen Rodriguez, R-O-D-R-I-G-U-E-Z.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. As co-founder of Jersey City Women, I want to echo all of the statements that Aiko just made and thank all of you for pushing forward for this advisory board. It's a really huge step, but additionally, similar to what Aiko was saying, we need to voice some of our concerns. Many of the functions for the advisory board proposed in this ordinance are things that we've already been doing in our organization, Jersey City Women, for the past year and a half. Without any funding and very little power, we've been on the ground hearing what women need and meeting with organizations to discuss collaborations, plan events, bring people together. We've pulled together the stats and have a long list of what women need. But what we've been needing and what we've been pushing for is support to turn those words into action. What we and the women in Jersey City need is not necessarily more space to speak about our issues, because we've made that for ourselves. What we need, like Aiko said, is power and funding. So again, while creating this advisory board is a phenomenal step in the right direction, and we appreciate that, we just want to make sure that this is just the first step. No changes for women can be made without giving that board more power through the ability to enact actual effective change or funding, or ideally both. So we just wanted to express those concerns, and again, thank you for this.
Thank you very much. This is still a public hearing on this ordinance. I seen G. Daly.
Yes. Can you hear me? Oh, yes you can.
Go ahead, Jean.
I'll be very brief. I actually attended that meeting that they had in October. We had a lot of the panelists are now council members. Well, already were our council members too. It was a brilliant, brilliant event, and I think it brought up a lot of issues for women, and I'm just glad that we are having this council, and once again would agree with them saying we should get it funded, and it's the right step, and I think it's a brilliant idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is still a public hearing on Ordinance 22-002. Any member of the public wishing to be heard? Okay. If I can have your name for the record, please.
Vishnu Maya Pariyar.
Can you spell that for us, please?
B as in boy, I as in India, S as in Sam, H as in Harry, and S in Nancy, U as in umbrella.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just so excited about this initiative. So Jersey City is such a beautiful and so diverse city, and I was talking to the council president a long time ago that we have to have the Women's Advisory Board in Jersey City because we have so many powerful women here and working so hard in different fields to empower women and girls. And some of the women actually, like me, we have connection with the United Nations and we can work together we can bring the issue, what is happening here at the United Nations, and so it will be very good opportunity. And I was not ready to speak, but I was just excited to this opportunity and so happy for it, and let's do it. And we are very powerful women in Jersey City, and let's it happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 22-002. Any member of the public wishing to be heard? Okay, with that being said, I have 3 statements to read into the record. One by Tammy Weaver Henry. This is a letter that will act as a support for the proposed ordinance for the Women Advisory Board. Jersey City has always been committed to advocating for women and addressing the key issues that they faced. With current state of unrest in the country, the ongoing public pandemic, and limitations to many public offices, women have felt like they have been muted. I concur that there truly is a need for this Women's Advisory Board. Women throughout the city will be overjoyed to have this board advocating and working for them to ensure women their needs and addressed their voices and their voices are heard. I also feel they will be stronger, safer, and frankly more open to participation in the needs of our city than ever before. I support this Chapter 73 Women's Advisory Board ordinance. Next is Chelsea S. Duffy. My name is Chelsea Duffy. I'm a 5.5-year resident of Jersey City's Bergen-Lafayette neighborhood. I am writing to express my full support of Ordinance 22-002, which is establishing Chapter 73, a Women Advisory Board of the City of Jersey City. In March 2021, I had the honor of sitting on the Jersey City Women's History Month Committee with Council President and many other active female leaders from the community. It was through this experience that I recognized the deep importance of such an organization or something like it. We were successful in bringing Jersey City women together both virtually and in person for the meaningful discussion, idealing and networking and historically anniversaries and so on. While our footprint was gently made, the need for more consistently and frankly more serious Women's Advisory Board is necessary. With the active board in place, women of our city will have a trusted ally and represented voice inside rooms where at-large decisions are made. I am confident our city will not only unite over such an ordinance, making Jersey City an even better place to live, work, and operate and contribute and be. Thank you for the opportunity to write in and show support. And next, last but not least, is Monica Barcia. As women business owners of Jersey City, we fully support Ordinance 22-002 to create a Women's Advisory Board of Jersey City. We believe by creating the Women's Advisory Board and offering a space to be heard and to discuss women's issues, the City of Jersey City will be better equipped to support society's pressing issues like reducing gender inequalities, poverty, and injustice, improving the situations of women and their families, including children and the elderly, and creating more opportunities for women. Most of those issues are on the agenda of the United States Sustainable Development Goals. We truly believe that by focusing on women, everyone wins. Children, the elderly, our communities, the economy, and the entire society. Therefore, we recommend voting yes for the creation of the Women's Advisory Board on January 26, 2022. Okay, council members, that is the last statement. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-002?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Rivera. May I have a second?
Second.
Second was made by Councilperson Ridley. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-002, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-002, Councilperson Ridley.
I just want to say that this board is something that probably should have happened a long time ago. And I'm happy to see that, you know, women in Jersey City are getting that opportunity to stand up and speak up and stand up for our rights and what we know is deserving of us. And, you know, speaking back to the panel that we had, it was great to see so many women in one room on the same wave. And if we keep that up, we'll get a lot done. So with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
I just want to thank Council President for moving this forward. I think, again, as Councilwoman Ridley said, it's very necessary, and it's been a very long time coming. I know in my family, I have a long history of women who were in leadership positions, and one of the things I always said is that it's hard to get women into a group together with their scheduling and to really carve out that time and space, but also to create mentoring opportunities in a way that's really, really meaningful. So I look forward to all that's going to come out of this committee, and with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
I want to vote aye, and I'm really happy that this initiative has been pushed forward, and it's not just a seat at the table, but you're actually building a table with power that recognizes the power of women, and you're giving them the funding, the space, and the power to fight social inequities and raise the next generation. Thank you.
Councilperson Solomon.
Again, echo my colleagues and thank Council President Waterman for advancing this forward and take to heart the public comments that it's step one of many, many more steps to come. So with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
I'd like to thank Madam Council President for introducing this and making sure it came to fruition. I thank you so much, Aiko. I don't know if you know the little dreams in your head, and the VIP diner in 2016 would build up to this. You've really made Jersey City history today. So thank you for your work on women's equity, and thank you for bringing the women together to get this done.
Councilperson Rivera.
I'm echoing as well what all my council colleagues are saying. Madam President, thank you so much. Aiko, you did an amazing job, you know, at the beginning of bridge builders, and that's important, and definitely vote aye. Great job.
And Council President Waterman.
Before I vote, I would just like to say, in 2013, when I took office, when I came to City Hall, women were not recognized to a standard that I believe that they should have been. And so I started a Women Advisory Committee to make sure when March would arrive, because that is Women History Month, that there would be various events for women throughout the city. That was achieved. Then our goal was to make sure we have a women's flag raising. Last year, 2019, was our first woman flag raising. We have always been on the move to make sure women's voices was heard. I have to give credit to Dr. Bisnu, because when I took office and I met her in 2014, she was always advocating for a woman advisory board. So often there are so many women who advocate for something but get left out. And so my whole intent is to make sure women are recognized. So Dr. Bisnu, I salute you, because I know in 2014 you was pressing to have a woman advisory board. It was all about timing. For you that know government, it's really about timing. It's long overdue, but it is the right time, because there are so many changes that is happening in the country concerning women. Some days it feels like we have got pushed back instead of moving forward. But I believe the Women Advisory Board has the potential to serve as a forum for political advocacy, to provide and build opportunity with women organizations, to empower women who do not have agencies to advocate for them, and to recognize and promote accomplishments of women in the community. A Women Advisory Board has the potential to affect social change. So that's why this is so important. This is just the beginning. I'm quite clear about funding. I know it needs to be funded, but I know we have to take one step at a time. And for a city to be as diverse as this city is, for us to just elect a woman council president 2 years ago, and for us to now create a woman advisory board in 2022, that lets us know that we are really far behind. But because we believe in progress, I will do everything I can to make sure those who have not been heard for women issues, who have not been heard, that we will be at the table to make sure that there is justice and equality for everybody. So with that, I vote aye.
Thank you very much. City Ordinance 22-002 is adopted unanimously 9-0. Okay, on to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.2, City Ordinance 22-003 is an ordinance amending Chapter 84, Alcoholic Beverages and Cannabis, to establish reporting requirements for the Cannabis Control Board. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name. Any member of the public wishing to be heard? Motion to close the public hearing was made by Councilperson Rivera on City Ordinance 22-003, seconded by Councilperson Prinzary. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-003, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Barciano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0. To close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-003 for final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-003, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Barciano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-003 is adopted unanimously 9-0. Okay, on to our public request for a hearing. Our first speaker is Michelle, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. It's Alleyne, A-L-L-E-Y-N-E. I'm so sorry. Come on up.
Hello.
Your 3 minutes are going to start. You may go.
Hi, my name is Michelle Alleyne. I just want to read something that we're going through with our property here in Jersey City. Since we moved to Jersey City, the biggest thing we've noticed is that the Greenville section has been left behind in so many ways. Lead in the water, chromium, cleanup, and sewage pipes that do not match this rapidly growing city. It's unfair to continually have to deal with backed up city sewage from every heavy rainfall, which seems to be the new norm with climate issues. Our basement was pummeled by Ida and the recent tornadoes. I was standing in other people's poop, pardon my language. Sewage comes into many of the older homes like mine, while new homes get new pipes. We are left breathing in toxins. We've been living with and breathing in the city's waste in our home, making the last 5 years very challenging, and it makes us want to leave a neighborhood that we love. But we want to stay because we do love our home, and we'd like to be a voice for all of those that are like us, living in a literal toxic environment that also pushes out the worst smells in our front yard. We did not know this prior to purchasing the home, so we're learning this as we go. We're trying to dry out our basement and demold it. It stays very damp. We've been told by the city that we can only run our groundwater, which is what is flooding our basement, in addition to the sanitation issues. We can only run the groundwater through the sanitation pipes. Now, these are already backed up, and as I mentioned, they're backing up into our home. So we're trying to figure out what to do. It seems as though the city needs to correct the sanitation pipes so that we can rectify our situation. When we fix, we're putting a Band-Aid on a situation that seems to be a problem with infrastructure. So we're wondering, how do we fix this? What do we do? This is my first meeting. I'm a new homeowner, and as I said, I'd love to stay in my home, but not sure what to do. Are there any plans for the piping infrastructure in the city? Can anybody give me any idea of what I should do? Is this the right forum?
What's your address?
You don't have to give.
Oh no, you don't have to give your address.
Just what area of the city do you live in, so we can direct you to the council person.
Right.
Then I can meet you afterwards, and I can pay you a visit, because we're at larges. But the council person, whatever area you're living in, you can. Which area? What's your street address? I mean, your
zip code 07305, Greenville area of Jersey City. I could give my address.
You don't have to give your address on the record if you don't want to.
Okay.
But when you're done speaking, my aide Gladys, just let her know where you live, what street you're on.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for hearing me.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. All righty. Next is June Jones. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it, so she did provide me with a statement, which I'll read into the record. This is by June Jones. Dear council members, I'm an African-American female and lifelong resident of the city of Jersey City, and I'm writing to you to express my concern and dissatisfaction of what I see as unfair, political, and racially motivated redistricting of wards in Jersey City, particularly in Ward F, the largest African-American population, and many active organizations. In reviewing the New Jersey state statute guidelines for the redistricting process, it appears that chosen commissioners have implemented a process that contains all of the don'ts and very few of the do's. For instance, the ward map of F does not contain contiguous or compact lines. There is definitely evidence of cracking and packing. It duplicates the oldest African-American neighborhood in the state of New Jersey. It specifically carves out two major development projects that the community voiced disagreement. And we believe that racial determinants produced this map of prejudice and redlining. And where are our other elected officials? I wish I can hear from them. I wish they would at least pretend to care by raising their voices on their constituents' behalf. I voted for Frank Gilmore for Ward F, and he won big time. However, I'm no longer in Ward F, and I the above-mentioned development projects that the community has been working on have been reassigned through the redlining to the councilperson in Ward A who ran on Phillip's ticket and is less likely to challenge his decisions, but we will see. This act of divide and conquer will not work. It will only push us to unite on one accord. Crafting ward lines in redlining fashion reminds me of Jim Crow in the 21st century and what is going on in Georgia, so un-American. And the craftsman of this redistricting mapping reiterates that story and the story of January 6, 2021. I also want to ask the council to table 417 Communipore Avenue, give the community a chance to meet with you and the developer. Do not force this out of place project against the will of the people. Be courageous, vote your conscience, and do what is right by your constituency. You all should be outraged by what the election committee did to you. You just experience how it feels to have your voice fall on deaf ears and make you feel that you don't matter. Please don't do the same thing to us. June Jones. Okay, next we have Jean Daly.
Did you get my name and everything? Okay.
Go ahead, Jean.
Sure. Clock's ticking. I just want to bring up a couple of things. One is regarding the planning board and the new master plan. I attended their meeting virtually on the 18th, and there was something that they forgot to mention, or I forgot to mention rather afterwards, is that during this whole master plan presentation, there was not one word talking about our emergency services, whether it's we're going to need more police stations, whether we're going to need more fire stations. And I think that is something that should never have been omitted, and unfortunately I only thought of it afterwards. So I just wanted to bring it to someone's attention that this is critical. Another thing that I did bring up with them is when they were talking about resiliency. We did our own resiliency study in 2018, and in the end, it really recommended seawalls because this, the sea levels are rising. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter how it's happening. And yet on the master plan, there was no mention of any type of seawalls, no mention of any type of really strong infrastructure like the woman was bringing up before. So that was a little disappointing. I'm also asking you to take a peek at item number 10.9. It's resolution 22-065. I was reading it and I looked up the link, and it seems like we are being gifted 119 Oura rings, O-U-R-A. Rings that you put on your finger, 119 of them. They cost $399 a pop. The subscription is $100 per year for each one. And there are things that are, on Kim Kardashian's hands and Gwyneth Paltrow and her goop and her vagina candles. It's pretty much like the latest Fitbit type of thing. And I am very curious to know, why are we getting these things? I did contact the health department. They have no idea why we're getting these things, and who are they for? Which also brings me to the Jersey City Economic Development Corporation. It is a private entity, and yet I do not know why it's on the city website. Similarly, I was placing an Oprah request, and you're immediately directed to the city. But this is a private entity. Why do we have a private entity being serviced by the city? They should pay for their own Oprah, et cetera. I see my time's up, but thank you for your patience.
Hey, John, just so the record reflects, I know a lot of people are outraged with the way the maps were drawn, but I just want to assure all of my constituency in Ward F that no matter how the lines are drawn, I'm still going to be an advocate for you and to welcome the extended Ward F into the ward. That's it.
Thank you. Okay. There are no more speakers. On to our petitions and communications, items 6.1 through 6.16. Any questions or comments? Okay, there are no officer communications, no report of directors. On to our claims and addendums number 1 and number 2. So, council members, we're going to be voting on claims and addendums number 1 and number 2. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Claims and addendums number 1 and 2 are approved unanimously, 9-0. Okay, council members, on to our resolutions. We're going to be taking a vote on items 10.1 through 10.14. Again, that's items 10.1 through 10.14. Councilperson Ridley.
Wait, I just lost it. EA, on 10.9, the resolution that I believe Jean just had a question about, that's a gift from the Economic Development Corp, right? The city isn't paying for those rings.
That's correct, Councilwoman, and the idea here is to utilize these with the residents that are also taking advantage of our Arrow Farms initiatives.
All right, with that, I vote aye for all.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Baggiano.
I just want to ask a question. How much do the rings cost? I know the county's paying for them, but
they're going to be free of charge to the city. What they are retail, it was alluded to maybe $300, but I don't have factual information on that.
all right. Okay, I'll vote aye on all then.
Councilperson Saleh.
I vote aye for all with the exception of 1011, the resolution for the medical waste removal from the vaccine sites. 2 weeks ago, we authorized $15 million emergency contract to Bespoke Health, and if they wanted to get the removal for vaccine medical waste, they should have put it in there. I don't think they should get 2 bites at this apple. And additionally, we had requested itemized list of expenditures from Bespoke Health and what it costs to run each vaccine site. And I just think that spending $30,000 to remove the vaccine waste, I think that should be incumbent upon them to do that, and that they shouldn't be coming back to us hat in hand. You know, we have to protect the taxpayers of this city, and, you know, we're in junior year of this pandemic. We should get a little more organized. We shouldn't be doing these emergency contracts. And if we are going to authorize another $30,000, like, why didn't we do it when we did the $15 million 2 weeks ago? So no for 1011.
So you're going to vote aye on all except for 10.11. You're voting no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm voting no.
I got you. Councilperson Solomon.
I'm going to vote no on 10.7. 10.7. We got all the information that I had requested. I just haven't had a chance to analyze it yet, and would prefer to delay, but it's on the agenda, so I'm going to vote no. 10.9, I'm going to abstain. I wait to see the all the approval from the Institutional Review Board that I know is moving forward. This is voluntary as of now, which is fine, but I just feel more comfortable waiting until I get the IRB approvals, and then on 10.11 I will vote no as well, and then aye on all the rest.
Okay. Just to recap, just to make sure I have it correct, you're voting no on 10.7 and 11 and abstaining on 10.9, and then aye on all the rest, correct?
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilperson Gilmore.
I vote aye on all but 10.11. And just with regards to 10.14, with regards to the service, the employee assistance program, I just like to see an email blast sent to all departments so all of the employees know that they have the opportunity to take advantage of these services. So I'll vote aye on all except for 10.11.
And you're voting no on 10.11, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye on all.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye on all.
And Council President Waterman.
10.11 no, and aye on all the rest.
Okay, if I can just recap, items 10.1 through 10.6 are approved unanimously 9-0. 10.7 is approved 8-1, with Councilperson Solomon voting no. Item 10.8 is approved 9-0. Item 10.9 is approved 8-0-1, with Councilperson Solomon abstaining. Item 10.10 is approved 9-0. Item 10.11 is approved 5-4, with Council members Saleh, Solomon, Gilmore, and Council President voting no. And items 10.12 through 10.14 are approved unanimously 9-0. Okay, on to the balance of our resolution. So I'm going from items 10.15 through 10.27. So we're going from the balance. Items 10.15 through 10.27. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye for all. I just want to, about the use of the 1015, the Military and Veterans Affair permitting the city of Jersey City to use the National Armory. I know St. Joseph's had applied for the basketball, and they were turned down by our Recreation Department, and I'd like to find out why. And I'll vote aye for everything.
Councilperson Saleh.
I'm going to echo what Councilman Baggiano said, but aye for all.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Gilmore.
I'll vote aye for all. I'm gonna abstain on 1027. And I do have a few questions. I see this document that was handed and put on our door, and I specifically want to highlight one particular paragraph. Plaintiff said, okay, all right. So I do, I have a few questions at least, and to Peter or John, anyone you can answer, because in this incident, it's alleged that the victim had at least went to HR.
Councilman, the contents of this memorandum were, their attorney-client privilege protected. Right. I would just ask that we not discuss these at the public meeting. Right. If you have some questions about it that we can discuss offline, we're more than happy to do that.
Well, this I'm referring to is on a public document, is in a paper.
Are you talking about the memo we distributed?
No, I'm not talking, I'm just talking about the actual document that's in the public already. It's printed in a paper.
Okay.
And it's essentially stating that on several occasions, this employee had reported these actions and essentially nothing was done. So my question to you or John, what if any measurements are put in place to ensure that this doesn't transpire again? Because as a council, we can't continue to vote for lawyers and vote for settlements and then we not have any remedies on the front end to prevent said actions that transpired. So I just want to know, what if anything was implemented to ensure that this doesn't happen again, or to protect us in some manner?
Once again, Councilman, this is a matter of, this is the resolution of litigation. The Human Resources Department, obviously, this incident occurred 2016. So this was 5 years ago. There's been a number of changes in the Human Resources Department. We're happy to go over that with you, along with the director of the Human Resources Department, as far as response to employee complaints like that go.
So for the record, there's no tangible items or measures that was taken. Like change in protocol?
No, there have been tangible measures that include a formal investigation process that's been beefed up over a period of years. And again, these are things that we can go over with you in detail with the Human Resources Department.
Councilman, we do have our closed session next week with HR if you want to bring up matters specific, but I don't think we should get into specific details with this case at this time. But we have revamped our personnel policy. We do have some measurable performance evaluations that we've done that we could share with you in that closed session.
Councilperson Gilmore, you voted aye on all?
No.
With the exception of 10.27, you abstained?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you. Councilperson DeGise? Aye. Councilperson Rivera?
Aye.
And Council President Waterman?
Aye.
Okay, if I can just recap. Items 10.15 through 10.26 are approved unanimously 9-0. Item 10.27 is approved 8-0-1 with Councilperson Gilmore abstaining.
Motion to adjourn.
So I have a motion to adjourn
Second.
at 6:53 p.m. by Councilperson Rivera. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Prince Airy. On the motion to adjourn at 6:53 p.m., Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn at 6:53 p.m. carries 9-0. Thank you so much, Council President, members of the Municipal Council, our BA, Corporation Council, members of my staff, and Tracy, our court reporter. Thank you as always. And members of the public, thank you for your patience. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. Have a great night. Stay safe. Mask up. Have a great night.